Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode 21 of the Braindrizzle podcast.
This podcast is now old enough to drink.
Well, in America, in Canada, it's 19. Suck it. Um,
You suck.
it's great. Anyways, today's episode is hopefully going to be a little bit shorter. Jack, why don't you explain why?
I'm gonna need something that takes less time to edit because on Saturday I'm going to Oklahoma for the Free OK Atheist Conference or convention, something where a bunch of people sit in a room and get talked at.
Yes. So, it's kind of funny that we had our first conferences so close together.
I know, right? It's almost like we planned this.
If only we had.
Serious. I mean, think about how awesome it would be if we could pull stuff like that off.
Yeah. But no, it should be fun, and we'll do like a recap episode when you get back, like I did with my conference. It should be a good time.
Your conference was in Canada. My conference is in Oklahoma, which is dangerously close to Texas.
Well, I mean, Lauren's from Texas. Really, like a good chunk of the atheist YouTubers are from Texas.
Yeah, I noticed that. What's up with that?
I'm just like, I'm in Texas.
It's just like, is there anybody out there?
Pretty much.
And then somebody down the street pops up. Whee!
But since you'll have this edited early, I may release it like Saturday morning instead of Sunday, so that maybe if someone hears it, they might run into you.
Oh, yeah, great. Send me stalkers.
Will do. Hey, I got recognized twice at at my conference, and it was awesome.
Alright, man. Okay, so, do we have any stories?
Yeah, we do have actual content, which is unusual for us, but, you know.
And well, we thought that, with the conference and all, we'd put on our Sunday shoes for you guys.
First story, everybody and their dog is talking about, but I figured we should address it. It was the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision that naturally occurring human genes cannot be patented.
Yep, talk of the town, man.
And it's interesting, because the article I'm reading from Medical Express brings out some interesting points. Because this precedent of, like, okay, you can't patent naturally occurring human genes, like, does that apply to naturally occurring animal genes? Does it apply to naturally occurring compounds, which many pharmaceuticals are based on? So it does have sort of larger implications.
Hey, man, if it makes medicine cheaper... I mean, dude, you know what this would do for research?
Well, again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it frees up researchers to work on these genes, but again, it provides less incentive for certain companies to invest if they don't think they can get a patent.
Mm.
A good thing is that basically the main company in this, Myriad Genetics, they still have the patent on the gene test they were working on. So other groups can develop their own test because the gene itself isn't patented, but the company still does have a patent related to the gene.
I see. That was all kinds of confusing.
Obviously, they didn't invent the gene, they just isolated the gene, but the actual mechanism they used to test for it is something they made.
Well, okay, well that makes better sense then. Everybody was, all full of outrage and excitement and hubbub when it was revealed that Angelina Jolie now has fake boobs because she had a preventative mastectomy done based on the results of one such DNA test. Now, the DNA test that she got was super, super expensive. Like, this was controversial for many, many reasons, a lot of them having to do with, oh my god, her boobs are fake, now I feel totally betrayed, and that totally ruins my fantasies of her, and I hate her now, because that's what she's for, is my fantasies, and all that kind of stuff, and other people being like, oh my gosh, she's such a hero, and other people being like, well, she shouldn't have gotten implants, because plastic surgery, Hollywood, blah, blah, yeah. It's like, something happened in this celebrity's private life. Let's use this to segue into the talking points that make me unpopular at parties. Like, seriously. And I did not get it because my grandmother, this is decades ago, she found a lump, and it was cancer, but they got it early. Both of her breasts were removed, and she got implants. Does my grandmother get a pat on the back for being a fucking hero? Does she get paint thrown at her by confused PETA people because she has plastic in her chest? It's just like, PETA, go away. That doesn't even have to do with anything. Animal killer! Okay, I don't know where that was going. I mean, does she get hassled by hippies for that sort of thing? No, because she's not a celebrity. But here's a fact. A lot of women get reconstructive surgery after they get their boobs removed. So that's beside the point. Everybody just fucking get over that, for one. Now I will get to my actual point, being, because you can no longer patent these genes and everything, other people could possibly come up with alternative tests, and they'd break up the market so that the particular test that Angelina Jolie got that told her that she was probably going to get breast cancer will no longer cost $8,000 fucking dollars.
Is that the actual price, or is that just an example?
I think that's close to the actual price.
That's all, but I do like the decision that the company gets to keep some of their patent because, again, companies aren't going to invest in a cheaper test or any kind of genetic test if they don't think they can at least patent the process they use.
Yeah, but this will open up the market so that competition will drive down the prices, is what I'm trying to say. Like, my grandmother got her stuff cut off and restuffed because she actually had cancer. Think about all the women out there who end up going in when their symptoms get severe, and then it turns out they're in a later stage that's harder to treat, and they end up suffering and dying because they simply could not afford to get an early test like that.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she was able to, luckily she actually, kept up on checking her tits for lumps and everything, and she went right in when she found one, but not everybody does that. Not everybody can do that. You don't always feel the lumps. But yeah.
I'm sorry, is that the name of the episode? Feel the lumps?
Feel the lumps. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. Anyway, so that was kind of a random weird segue. The whole Angelina Jolie story, the way people reacted to it just pissed me the fuck off, because it's just kind of like, I know somebody who did that. That is common. And a lot of people don't see that as being common because very few people can afford that. I think a lot of people were just hating on Angelina Jolie because she could afford to take care of herself. And here, newsflash, everybody should be able to afford to take care of themselves. And this particular move in legislation is going to help make that happen. Legislation matters when it comes to research.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't see that fucking connection. Well, there is a connection, guys. Anyway, so but since we brought up that one popular thing, I just had to throw in another popular thing just because, fuck it.
Yeah.
Anyway, next story.
Okay, that was kind of serious. So let's break it up into something a bit more lighthearted. It's still genetics, so that's always good. Researchers are scanning the genomes of different cacao plants so that they can have a both high-yield plant and a high-quality plant.
Better, cheaper chocolate. See, I can't eat Nestle anymore because I feel guilty since they buy chocolate from unethical dealers. Unethical dealers that, in fact, use child labor. It's just unreal. It's like, what? Yeah, in this day and age, there's still countries where that happen. It's along the coast of Africa where most of our chocolate comes from. However, you can get chocolate from South America that is fair trade chocolate. It's usually very expensive, but you can get it usually at hippie coffee houses and stuff like that. And being able to see the price of chocolate go down, because let's face it, we're not going to stop eating it. I see this as African children in school instead of working themselves to death.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, there's, two main breeds of, species of cacao plant, and one has red pods and one has green pods. And, for that particular trait, the color of the pods, it's literally just one nucleotide difference in the gene. And then codes for a bunch of other shit that results in the pod color.
I see.
Too many species, one is high quality and one is high yield, so often they grow both and cut one with the other.
I see.
To sort of make it spread a bit more, so the hope is that you could get the high yield breed tasting like the high quality breed.
Dude, hell yes.
And I just thought it was kind of funny, and God damn it, I always get annoyed because once they do this research, they're going to use it to screen saplings of hybrids. or just variants from each species. And it's like, dude, just insert the gene for God's sakes.
Serious, just straight up GMO that stuff, man. I don't think this is a GMO that is going to hurt the environment. I mean, it'd probably help the environment because we'd be able to get more chocolate per acre. That means they'll have to tear up less land.
And it'd probably be good for the farmers because, if I can remember the number, like 45 million people are related to the growing of cacao.
Not only that, but a lot of them get freaking screwed, which is why fair trade chocolate is so damn expensive. If the price of chocolate were actually fairly controlled by the market, that shit would be just a straight up delicacy and not just something that you buy for $1 as an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate itself is fucking expensive. The price is artificially downfixed like helium.
So, hippies, get your shit together so that your expensive chocolate isn't so expensive.
Embrace the idea of good GMOs. Embrace the idea of responsible GMOs. Embrace the idea of screening GMOs for safety instead of just all or nothing. I mean, seriously, stop being so borderline about the issue and clear your head and actually realize that GMOs are not all or nothing.
And, like, if this was GMO'd, I like how we made that into, like, a verb.
Mm-hmm.
GMO! It would be, like, the lamest GMO ever. Because it's literally just, like, a gene or two from a really closely related species.
It's like, would happen in nature eventually if we let it style GMO.
Yeah, so it's just... I mean, it's good news, but I'm like, God damn it, people.
Yeah, but also you have to keep in mind that a lot of African farmers are like really freaked out by GMOs because of the kind of information that they're given by a lot of these Greenpeace-style groups. And so it could be that they're looking for an alternative to GMOs so that the people whose economy actually needs these new plants will actually be willing to use them. So, I mean, there might be a viable political reason why they're doing it this roundabout way.
Yeah, but it's still stupid.
I know, man. It freaking sucks.
It's basically a hybrid, but better and more precise.
Yeah. Ah, fucking Christ. Anyway.
So that's all I got. What do you got?
What I got? A battery made out of wood.
Wood, you say?
Yes, wood. And they did this little, question mark after wood. A battery made out of wood? And I'm just thinking, like, some fucking, like, either some steampunk or some Flintstone shit when I read this. But no, apparently this is like a tiny thing. It's like just a sliver of wood that's coated in tin, and it's a sodium-ion battery. Like, it's not lithium. Current batteries, like, the bases aren't very flexible. Rechargeable batteries are built on stiff bases that, like, break after a while because the act of charging the battery and then using up everything, and it will actually make it, like, the insides, like, expand and contract, right?
Okay.
These guys want to use wood fibers because they're more flexible. Apparently these batteries last for more than 400 charging cycles because the bases and the insides don't just fucking snap as quickly as with regular rechargeable batteries.
That's cool.
Yeah. Basically, so it's like the wood is a mechanical buffer. And they say they want to use these for, like, storing huge amounts of energy, like from, like, solar plants or whatever. I don't understand how this would be scalable because they're tiny. They're covered in tin, so the tin itself is an anode. Like, could you just, like, pour a whole bunch of these batteries in a vat and then charge them and recharge them from that? Like, as long as they're touching each other, the charge is transferable through them? Or, like, how would you actually make this work? I mean, it seems like you'd have to find a way to make this bigger. I don't know, though.
I'm gonna just, like, take a tree round, wrap it in tinfoil. Like, okay.
Wrap a tree. Well, no, you'd have to fill it with sodium, too.
Well, yeah, that too. But, like, you, like, take a section of trunk, like, okay, here's the battery.
Actually, you know what? I hope that this gets developed in a way that DIYers could start doing this.
DIYers, keep an eye out for news about wood batteries and then make that shit, because that'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, like I say, if it needs to be tiny, you just, like, make a bunch of them.
I thought it was pretty cool. And also, it kind of caught my eye how they... Well, it was supposed to catch my eye because the title is literally A Battery Made of Wood? Question mark. And it's just kind of like, why the question mark? Why not just 5 exclamation parts? A battery made of wood!
Yeah.
You know, and if you want more emphasis, just throw in the F word. The battery made of motherfucking wood!
Yep.
Alright, listen up, assholes. Are you sick and tired of having to stick your rechargeables in the recharger, then all of a sudden they don't fucking work for no fucking reason, man? Well, motherfuckers, we got this battery that can recharge more than 400 times using motherfucking wood, bitches. Wood, that shit's flexible. Tin, that shit's an anode. Sodium.
Oh, the hippie would love wood batteries.
Yeah, seriously, man, it's...
Or would they? Because you gotta cut down trees.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it's like an ultimate conundrum.
What to do?
It's like a really efficient battery that'll save the environment, but you must murder a tree.
Just like this hippie, like, standing in front of this tree with an axe, just, like, just face totally covered with indecision.
Oh, it's so good. I wanted to see that face.
Seriously. Dude, that would be awesome. Fucking hippies.
We take so much piss on hippies.
We do. Look at me, I want to live in a tiny house one day. I pretty much am a hippie, but... fuck it.
Like Tim mentioned, he describes himself as a terrible hippie. Because he's like really liberal, but he likes nuclear power and GMOs.
Yeah, okay. So, I am also a terrible hippie. Terrible, terrible hippie.
That's cool news. What else you got, Jack?
What else I got? Well, scientists can tell what you're feeling based on brain scans now.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
Yeah, totally. Alright, there's no tumors, but I can see that you really hate me. Seriously, this is so private. Okay, before this, when they would try to do tests about emotions and everything, they had to rely on people self-reporting. That means the person had to honestly self-report. People are more likely to report what they'll consider to be an acceptable response because emotions are personal. Revealing your emotions about an issue, people can infer things from that, like motive, what kind of person you are, whether or not you're ethical, whether or not they can accept you socially. It's a really charged situation asking people to say something as simple as how they feel. And sometimes people don't know how they feel, or they feel several things, but there's only room to, like, put one thing, and, you know, it's real complicated. But now they can just, like, scan somebody's brain and be able to see.
So, how did they do this if it's not just a bunch of compounding of data from self-reporting? Or is that how they did it?
Oh, how they did it was, no, they didn't just have people self-report and then, like, scan and be like, okay, they said they felt happy, so this is what happened, it looks like on the brain. Apparently, no, what they did was they actually got some actors, and they had the actors view the words and focus on those words and invoking those emotions in themselves. See, when actors act, what they do is they actually try to feel the way the character would feel, and they're trained to do that.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so basically that's apparently how they got those emotions nailed down in the brain.
So I wonder if that'll be used for, like, a lie detector test or something.
I don't know. I don't know if you could read the emotions.
No, not a lie detector test, but like testing someone's emotional stability. Like, just stick them in there and be like, okay, how you feeling?
Well, I mean, you could test definitively whether or not somebody is a psychopath by seeing if they have any empathy response to certain images of suffering or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, is, like, something else they mentioned in the article is that it's hard for them to, like, really lock down consistent responses to different stuff because basically, like, let's say they stick them in the brain scanner and they show them a bunch of images of stuff like American flag, a bunch of birds, blah, blah, blah. Like how they do with other tests. Like, there's similar emotion tests where they just measure heart rate. Those are anxiety tests to test the kinds of things that will cause somebody anxiety. Like, basically, if they do that except with the scanner, over time, if the same subject gets shown the same types of images, like, the emotion response decreases because they start to get acclimated to it. And you actually have to, like, stop looking at images like that and then go back to it after you're not burnt out anymore. That was kind of a problem. Like, it's just showing people, like, films and pictures and shit. So, apparently, like, the thing with the actors, so they don't have to rely on subjective reaction to images where people might have different reasons to react to the images differently for, you know, all kinds of whatever, just having the actors focus on the raw emotions themselves.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
That's creepy, but kind of cool.
Yeah, and apparently this story is kind of big, too. Like, I looked on my Facebook. I found it last night, but I looked on my Facebook this morning. I think Science or GTFO posted about it. I looked at this and I just kind of thought to myself, this little fan fiction in my head in which Beta Z was actually the planet that was established by Google, and Google Glasses evolved into brain implants, and they have emotion scanning like both long and short range emotion scanning and brain scanning like this as standard.
Yeah, I've always wondered if you could make an MRI type device mobile and portable.
They have that in Star Trek. But I don't know, it just kind of made me think of transhumanism. Basically, what if they were able to make an implant that made it so that you were able to read other people's emotions?
The only way that could work well is if it was two-way. Like the person had a receiving implant, and then there was like a broadcasting one.
Yeah. That could be some straight-up Clockwork Orange shit. Like, what if they invented a way to, like, use optogenetics to basically force psychopaths to have empathy?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure conspiracy theorists will love this episode.
Seriously, right?
They're like, okay, wooden batteries, GMOs, fucking emotion reading.
And I brought up Google Glasses. Google would put this in there because fuck privacy.
Yeah. I think it's still cool. This reminds me of Asimov in his main series. Spoiler alert. There are robots that can actually read emotions.
And this is how they do it.
Pretty much. Well, no, seriously, they have like a mobile brain scanner, and they can like look into a brain and be like, oh, this is what you're feeling.
Nice.
And they can actually also manipulate it.
Oh, shit. Oh,
See, Asimov just like ahead of all this shit.
I know, right? This is so transhumanistically delightful.
I know.
Well, my cat wants me, and I think we're out of time.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a pretty short episode. Maybe someone will actually watch it.
Yep, hopefully. Well, bye, guys.
See you next week.
Oh, no, they won't see us next week, because this is not a visual medium.
Well, that's true. God damn it, Jack.